Yo, yo, yo.
Yo,
Man, you know who it is. It's,
Alpha.
and I'm Omega. And you guys already know. To Olympia Multimedia, we're the production duo, Alpha Omega. And we're presenting you a new segment called Duel. Now, I know what y'all thinking real quick. Like, what's going on here? Duel? Like, what y'all about to battle each other here or something? Like, that's not what we're doing, right?
Nah.
Okay. Because as you can see, the disparity between the both of us here, like, I never realized I was this little, you know what I mean, compared to somebody who's, you know what I mean? But that's okay. That's a topic for another day, right? But for today, in this segment, we're going to be elaborating on some past videos through our Get Things Done video series. So definitely check it out on our YouTube channel.
Check it out.
So where we're discussing basically our humble beginnings when it comes to our music production, specifically our process, how we tend to create these templates, musical templates that we build off of. I think for all you producers out there, people who's into the music or aspiring to be, you definitely have to lay a foundation for yourself, right? So our way of doing it is through templates. In turn, we can build from that, add some different elements to it so that we can give the overall production more substance. But the neat thing about Mr. Alpha and myself is the fact that we have our own ways and our own views, perspectives when it comes to like making music, our own processes. But in turn, because of them differences, we can still become like one mind, one unit, hence Alpha Omega.
Right.
He's the beginning, and here I come. I'll finish it off, and it works. It also works for us because for guys out there, for viewers and people that are in close association with us know that we're working toward a goal. And our goal is to make Olympian, make Alpha Omega our new 9 to 5, as it were.
Yes.
We both have a day job. Pretty much everybody associated with Olympian has a day job. You still got to make a living and make ends meet. But our ultimate goal, like I said, is to get to the point where our passion can be our way of making a living. Through the music, with the books, with me, Olympian, the business itself, everything that entails with that. So our way of doing templates, being that we can't be in the studio all the time, we do try our best to do as much as we can, at least to have 2 to 3 sessions a month. But you know how things are, guys. You know how it is, Jay. Things happen.
Happens.
That's just part of life, right? But with us making these templates, it allows us to still stay connected when it comes to our music production. Something that Jay is working on, something I'm working on. We kind of piggyback off each other, email each other, different things that we're working on. It's not so much completed, but once we give it a listen to, we could take some elements from it, possibly make like a loop out of it, or take certain pieces, sections of it, maybe an instrument, maybe some type of effect in there, and then we can utilize it for something else. So we're always trying to find ways to utilize our time the best way we can. That's why we tend to use these templates through some apps that we utilize through our phone and through our tablets. So even at our day job, maybe on our lunch break, we have that opportunity, right? To utilize our time effectively, work on some things, maybe in a way cook up some ideas, as it were. Our way of jotting down, free forming, as it were, some ideas musically. And then in turn, when we get a chance, we send it to each other.
Check it out.
Because we may not be able to talk to each other at that moment.
Right.
But once we get to it, check it out, then we can open up that line of dialogue where we can be like, hey, we can work on this. Maybe we can add this. Maybe not as a whole, the whole production we may not be able to utilize, but maybe portions of it. And then we just take it from there. So without further ado, we present to you Duel. So let's get at it.
All right.
So, Mr. Alpha,
Yo, yo.
what we got going on over here?
So I'm in the process of making a beat. So
Okay.
what I'm using right now is called Bandlab.
Awesome.
So once I get it to where the settings where I need it to be. So let me take you to the beginning. How I'm starting off is I'm looking for a beat.
Okay.
Don't really have anything particular in mind, but I'm looking for a unique sound that we don't hear all the time or you don't hear on the radio.
Okay.
So my process is I just go through each of the sounds. I listen, such as this. I just listen. If I like it, I like it. If I don't, I keep scrolling. Keep scrolling till I'm waiting for something to pop out at me, you know?
So basically what you're saying is it's more of a vibe.
Yeah.
It's more of a feeling.
Yeah. I gotta like feel the beat, so.
More so than just like more of a structure, like you already have a game plan in play.
Right. Right now I'm just going off on a feeling right now.
Awesome.
So keep scrolling, I read it, you know. Let me try this one. Okay. So
your process is pretty unique. If you guys, for those out there that's aspiring to get into music production, Alpha is unique in his approach because he's looking just distinctively for a sound.
right.
It's not specifics as far as like some type of drums, create some type of drum pattern or sequence, or even the bass line, or even trying to compose some type of melody. He's literally just taking a sound and working off of that.
Right. And I think I found it.
I was digging that.
I'm going to do this one right here. So once I find something that I like on Bandlab, it's real easy. I'm going to hit the plus.
Wow.
Instant.
Instant makes a track.
It's already on track form. Okay. You can play it. You can stretch it out. You can shorten it up.
Wow.
All right. So after I got that, that's what I want to do. Once you touch it, then I figure out what I'm going to do next. So the
That's
next thing I want to do is find drums, because I got the melody, so to speak. So now I want to find the drums.
Okay.
So in here, like I said, it's real easy to navigate. It has everything pretty much right there. You just click it. So I'm gonna unclick that,
Okay.
and I'm gonna hit the drums. It's loading.
Wow.
Voila.
And you got a whole instant inventory.
You got a inventory for days, you know. So again, my process, I just listen to stuff. If I like it, I like it. If I don't, I keep trying. Now, the good thing about this is, if I feel like I found something, I do the same way. I hit the plus. Adds it on there automatically, right?
Awesome.
But also, the even better thing is, if I don't like it, I can delete it and do that whole process again.
Right.
So it makes my job even easier. And then after I do that, I'm going to look for a piano, keyboard piano. And again, I wait until something pop out at me, you know. I go by the feeling. So that's pretty much my process. And then after the piano, then I'm going to look for a synth.
Okay.
So I'm just repeating the same process, but I'm just looking for different instruments.
Okay.
And then once I feel that I have it together, I play it. And then that's where the fun part begins. I can like I said, I can stretch it out, shorten it up. I can cut and paste. You know, I have control over where I want the beat to start. You know, all you have to do is highlight it and move it. It's that simple. Wow. Same thing for here. You highlight it, you move it. Because I may not want it to start in the beginning. Right? So I may want to start it way down here. And you can do that. It's all at your fingertips. And then I'll do the same thing with the other beats that I add on. And then once I feel like it's ready, I play everything back. Play it back, I listen to it. If I like it, I keep it. If I don't like it, I may move some things around, or I might delete a sound and look for a different sound.
Oh, okay.
And for the most part, that's my process. Once I find it and everything is good, I save it. And then from there, you know, since I'm alpha, you know, I'll save it and then I'll send it to Omega. And that's my process. Now, I will say, if there is a specific beat that I am working on, I will look for the proper instrument. So if I want to hear a trumpet first, I'll go for the trumpets. Find it. You know, if I want to do drums next, then I'll do a certain drum. If I want to do a flute, like, hey, I haven't heard a flute, I'll look for it. I'll add it on there. So
there is times where you're looking for something more specific, but most of the time for you viewers out there, I'm getting the gist that, again, it's just a vibe.
Yes.
Just something that you feel. But also, too, you're looking for things that blend well together.
That's the key. They have to blend well. You know, I want to make sure that everything blends real good. It sounds good. You know, if it don't, then I can't use it.
Mm-hmm.
But that's my process of how I do things when I'm making a beat. You know, again, it's a vibe. You know, there's nothing like structure right now. I'm just looking for something that matches up, and I use it.
And you see how simple it is, guys, to utilize Bandlab. Very intuitive, low overhead as far as the learning curve. It's really that simple of just importing different sounds by way of loops, one-shots, different types of virtual instruments. And you see how Mr. Alpha was able to navigate this interface with such ease. So would you recommend this?
Oh, I definitely recommend this. Bandlab is, you know, when I first heard about it from Mr. Omega, I was a little wary about it because I'm like, oh, this is something new. It looks real difficult. I ain't going to be able to do this. But I say within a few days, I was getting it. And now, you fast forward to where I am now, I wouldn't say I'm a pro at it, but I'm not far from it. So,
nah. I like how you're being humble.
You know.
But I would say you're a pro.
Maybe.
But, nah, ain't no maybe. But there's always two sides of a coin.
Yes, sir.
So we got the one side with Mr. Alpha. So I guess it's my turn.
It's your turn.
Mr. Omega.
Omega, let's hear your story. Okay, Mr. Omega, what you got cooking over here?
Yo, what's going on, Mr. Alpha? I see you got me, you put me on the spotlight here a little bit.
Just a little bit.
Okay, well, I guess I could showcase a little something over here, what my process is.
Yes, sir.
As far as, putting together the beats, putting together these templates. So as you can see, my setup over here, I'm using the iPad and I'm using a application called Novation Launchpad. And I have the corresponding hardware to go with it, which is aptly called the Launchpad.
Okay.
So, you see how easy I made that. Everything just,
Yeah, it just flow together.
it just flowed. There
Okay.
you go.
All right. All right.
Alrighty.
All right. All right. Let's get into it now.
Now, as you can see from the screen, it's a little bit different than what my partner in crime, how his interface is set up. It's basically everything is made up into tracks. So in this particular one, everything is made into pads. So my partner is more like hands-on, as you can see. I seen you over there, Mr. Alpha. More hands-on, directly right onto the screen, maneuvering, doing different things, navigating through the interface. Me, I'm more of, I like to utilize hardware. It just makes it more easier to me instead of just being hands-on directly onto the screen. You can be on the screen as well and press the different pads and access the different features on there, but I'm more with the hardware.
Okay.
Utilizing that. As you can see, it's pretty much standard and easy. As you see on the screen, everything is color coordinated with the rows to imply a different type of sound. Whether you're doing drums, some type of snare, hi-hats, some type of short or subtle bass lines, and then you move progressively down the rows to like different types of synths, different types of melodies, instruments, and then at the end you have like different types of like one-shots where, they simulate different effects and stuff.
Okay.
And then if you look on the hardware, the pads are sequenced the same way as the color scheme to the pads on the screen. So you pretty much, it's easy to navigate. It's not going to be a situation where you kind of lose yourself as far as like putting together your beat. As far as my mindset goes, I'm definitely a little bit different from my partner, where he's more freeform, I'm more technical. I develop a game plan in my head before I sit down and start developing the beat, developing the template.
Okay.
So this one is similar to Bandlab as far as this has different types of sound packs that you can rummage through and check out different things, see what you like. You got, the button on there that allows you to, or the option to preview what potentially that sound pack sounds like. So the one I picked was Hip Hop Vitality. And the reason why I picked this one, because it incorporates different elements of hip hop and different elements of like synth, like sort of like EDM a little bit. And I'm a sucker for EDM. If you guys know anything about Omega, I'm big with the synths. I love that retro 80s, 90s sound. So I try to incorporate that as much as I can. And then, like I said, I already have a game plan in play already. Like right now, before I went into it, I already got an understanding of like what the different sounds are within this pack.
Okay.
So I'm just going to start off here.
Well, so what's the first thing you're starting off with?
Me, I'm a little different than my partner as well. We just want to highlight the differences between the two because that's the beauty of music. It's how the different angles and different ways people approach it. So he's more like just picking a sound and kind of navigating and translating that into like the bigger picture as far as like what the production is.
Okay.
So with moi, I usually work off the drums first.
Okay.
I look at drums like the foundation to a house. You're not going to start off with the roof.
That's
in
true.
order to build a house.
That's true.
Or the overall structure. You got to lay down the foundation first and build off of that. So that's my mind scheme for that. I'm going to utilize some drums. So let me go ahead and press this. And as you can see, it's a really cool, subtle type of sound. I'm not looking for anything overly extravagant, right? But sometimes I make some different adjustments as far as how I think the beat should go.
Right.
So I'm going to go ahead and turn this off. And I'm actually going to start with a very subtle bass line. And I notice on here they have something for a percussion. So I like the beginning. I like how it's very inviting is the sound. It has momentum built into it. And then from there, I'll go back to adding the drums.
Okay.
And then down here, you can add different effects that you can put and incorporate into your beat on the fly. Again, to add like different textures as you're going about putting together your production. So I'm going to try this one out and see how it sounds.
Okay.
And it's just something subtle. Again, remember, simple is more when it comes to production. You know, sometimes you can get away with a lot of pizzazz, but sometimes it's just neat to just add some little subtleties just to give it a little texture, a little bit more oomph into your production.
Simplicity is your friend.
Simplicity is my friend. I mean, Alpha's my friend too. You know
Okay.
what I mean? Okay.
I'm glad we cleared that up.
I got Mr. Simplicity over here. You can't see him, but he's here. You know? So now I got that going on. So when I go to record, that's something that I would implement, and it's simply called a stopper. That's
Okay.
what the name of the effect is. There's no complexity to it. You know, as you see, it was just simple. You know what I mean?
Okay.
So then from there, I kind of I'm very structured and very linear. So I'm just kind of like, the way the program is set up, I kind of just follow in order with that, right?
All right.
So from there, what I'm going to do is I'm going to add this. So it's pretty much the beginning of the melody. Again, it's something subtle. It creates a little bit more to the bass line. If you notice, I'm not a big fan once you add the drums to start adding a lot of hi-hats, different snares and kicks. I do utilize it. I'm not saying I don't, but I tend to lean off of that a lot and just kind of organically use different types of sounds to kind of create them different textures within the drums and within the bass line, right? Now, you know me, like I already said,
Yeah.
I love synths.
He loves synths.
There you go. So right here, they make it very simple for me, where they have a synth ready for me right here. Uh-huh. I love it.
Yeah.
It's just got just a nice feel to it. And usually as I go down the line and I start inputting different types of sounds, I kind of just sit back a little bit and just kind of really like let that sink in. Because I wouldn't be honest to say that sometimes I kind of derail and detour a little bit off the linear style and kind of go in a different direction. So that's why I take time out to kind of just bow my head and just get a good feel of what I got thus far. I even think about right now, should I incorporate a different type of effect? Like maybe this can add a little bit more to it. Right now, the synth is just really carrying this, so I don't really think I need to add an effect to it. So now, I'm looking at my next step, and you can enhance that synth by adding basically another synth to dub that original sound, right? Which this one is called a slope synth. I don't really think this needs to be dubbed, only because it just sounds so lush and fresh and vibrant on its own. It doesn't really need to be dubbed. But I do want to add a little brightness to it.
Okay. So what you gonna add?
So I'm going to go ahead and add this. And it's called a reset bright. And you see how it don't take away from the synth, but it enhances it,
Yeah.
right? So now I'm looking at it, and I could probably add a couple more things to it. I'm still thinking in my head what direction I want to go. But now I want to see how I want to break down this beat. Because right now it's sounding real good. At some point, I wanted to kind of have some transitions built into it, right? So I'll go ahead and let this ride out for a little bit. And you see how I take the drums out?
Right.
And this is how you start building transitions into your beat. And you see how dope that just sounds? And again, it's just adding all these beautiful textures into your beat. Now let's get these drums in. Uh-huh.
Okay.
All right.
All right.
Uh-huh. And let's bring these percussions back. And again, I guess this is the part that I coincide with my partner. It's like a vibe now. You know
see,
what I mean? Like
he's
it's a
over there
vibe.
vibing, ladies and
you
gentlemen.
got my shoulders working a little bit, like
He's
I'm getting
vibing.
a massage. You get what I'm saying? Like there's a vibe to it. You know what I mean?
Right.
And then, I kind of incorporate that and let it like build up inside of me. You know what I mean? So I feel like I'm in a good place. You know what I mean? So let's proceed on. I'm thinking, is there something else that I could add on here that can really give this a little bit of shine? You know what I mean? So now what I'm going to do is, I have the option of adding maybe like a guitar or maybe like a piano, or maybe I should continue with like the retro sound a little bit, like the 90s, because this has like a 90s
feel,
early 2000 feel. So I think I want to keep that going. So I'm going to go ahead and press the pad for fade retro. So let me keep with my count.
Okay. I see you, Mr. Omega, over here.
I say this to a lot of people. I envy my partner only because of how he has total freedom when it comes to his process, right? It's like no fear. It's just like whatever comes to me, whatever feeling I have, and I really feel it in the pit of my soul, as it were, I'm going to go ahead and run with it and see what I can do with that. Whereas me, I'm so technical and linear as far as really making sure that whatever sound that I implement and input, that it just, you can hear that flow. Like it all makes sense as it's going. You know what I mean? So even though this process works for me, sometimes it's very tedious on my part. Like it feels a little overwhelming because I wish I can go into it with his kind of mindset. Like he's so free. You know what I mean? I wish I could be like that free, like I'm up in the clouds, as it were, when it comes to my mentality and my approach of making beats. But it's been working for like 20 plus years, so I guess I'm doing something right.
You're doing something right.
I guess, you know what I mean? But as you can see, I love the feel, I love the dynamics. It definitely has that retro 90s 2000 sound that I'm looking for. Then I'm thinking like maybe, just maybe, I want to add some kind of effects. I see some effects on there is a little bit more subtle. So I'm thinking in my head, how about I do something as far as I go up here for the pads. Actually, let me go ahead and step. So you see, I just added this one shot. I'm really not digging that. This goes back to what I just said earlier. Sometimes I take little detours or whatever, right? So now, I'm going to go ahead and stop it and just show you real quick what I do with this. The neat thing about this program or this application is that you go up here to pads, and you see how it's highlighted already. The great thing about this this application, you have total control as far as what you want to do with it. You can you can change the pads that are already presetted within this sound pack, and you can put your own pads on there as well. You can also import your own loops or different types of sounds or VST instruments. You can import them onto here and then in turn put them on the pads associated with whatever sound pack that you pick. So it gives you that flexibility that you don't have to stick with their stock inventory. And then you can make it into a loop, a one shot, or a retrigger where you can actually press the pad over and over again if that's how you want to work. So with this one, I'm going to change the vocal. I'll just go right here. And I already know which one I want to use. It's called a burst vocal. And the neat thing about this is here it already tells you your BPMs of what the sound pack is working off of. This one is working off 90 BPMs. So the perfect thing about it is that the vocal sample that I want to use is also 90 BPMs. So you want to keep this in mind, that you want to keep everything kind of lined up similarly. You don't want to be too far off on whatever has been set as your BPM. It's going to be harder for you if it's slower or faster, whatever sound you input. You may not catch your rhythm or the tempo properly, right? So with this one, I just instantly just click it and look. It instantly becomes the burst vocal.
Okay.
It's already imported onto there. The neat thing about this too is with the effects that I was showing you, you can actually break this down depending on which effect. You can set up different parameters as far as how you want the preset or the effect to go. You know, you want it more phase sounding, where the wavelengths to the bandwidth are a lot more wavy. So you have a lot more subtle peaks. Or you could keep it more stationary, more like flatline. Or keep it even between your high or your low end. You know, you have your gators, where the amount of density and depth within that effect, you can kind of control that. Have as much or as little as you want. Delays, you can break down the measurements on there. The volume of it, the way you want it routed. The stopper that I just showed you. Just the velocity of it, how strong you want it to be. And then your flangers as well. So it just gives you all that flexibility that you can ask for as a producer.
So it seems like you just have total control over all the sounds that you want.
Total control. So to be honest, it's really not that much different from Bandlab. It really just comes down to, for you guys out there, if you're looking for you're wondering what type of application to use, it's really not that much different than Bandlab. Bandlab is great too. I utilize it from time to time as well. The only difference is up to you as a producer what you prefer more. Do you prefer more from a format standpoint? You want everything processed through tracks and kind of work off of that way within the confines of each track? Or do you want to work more off of pads? Bandlab too, you can work with MIDI. You can input MIDI as well with that as well. But the interface is so good and intuitive. It's just easy to just navigate with your finger and just use the screen. Novation is really more structured to use some hardware with it. So it's all dependent on what type of producer you are. If you're more like my partner, free-forming it, kind of go with the vibes, or more me structured. If that's the case, it probably make more sense for you to use some hardware, right? So with that being said, using that burst vocal that I just imported, you know, so that just sounds so incredible, right? Sounds great, right?
Okay.
So let's go back to what we were doing here.
All right.
I add the percussion.
Now we back on our vibe mode.
We're back on our vibe mode. So once you get it like through your head and you got a pretty good memory of how you're going about constructing your beat, it's so easy just to go back and just pick up where you left off. You know? Everything that I press, what pads that I'm utilizing, what sounds work good to me. There's fluency. It just sounds right. It sounds like there's a purpose with each one, and they mesh together so well. And then you just, it's all about like what my partner said, just feeling that vibe. And see, I just changed it up because this sounds a little bit more better because there's that time lapse between when the sound is incorporated. And it just, to me, amplifies the synth a lot better. So what I used was Access Bright instead of using Reset Bright. And it just adds that little bit of extra to it. And that's what I'll be looking for. So my partner used for uniqueness, I'm looking for what's that little thing that could just put the beat right over the hump a little bit. You know what I mean? And then let's finish it out with this. And I'm just feeling the vibe. It's just awesome. You know what I mean?
Okay.
And then we go back to like putting in the transitions. Let this ride out for a few measurements. Let's drop them drums. And then add just a little bit more subtlety to the beat. And voila, you have the basic confines of a template. It's not all the way done. I can easily see some other things I can add to it, but I'll get to it later. It's all about just having fun in the beginning. And then you worry about pulling your hair out later when you're really like trying to put together the beat and round it out, mix it, master it, you know, go through the whole process. But it's all about, like what my partner said, it's all about having fun, right?
Yeah.
Just finding your rhythm, finding your way, as it were. You know what I mean? It's like a journey every time you go make a beat, right? It's like another chapter in the story. You know, you're building up that momentum, that anticipation. So to like that final product, you know what I mean? Or how you want it formulated at the end. So kind of look at it that way too. Don't, you know, if you go more the structure route, I'm not going to knock you for that. That's what I do. You know what I mean? But I also look at it too like I'm going on a journey, you know? And I'm happy to say I'm going on this journey with my partner over here, Mr. Alpha.
Okay. You got two different styles, two different unique styles of
No doubt.
beat making. And one is not better than the other. It's just all about what you feel.
What you feel, and most importantly, what you're comfortable with.
Correct.
So don't let, for you inspiring producers out there, don't let nobody make you feel like any less a producer because your music making process is not as traditional as everyone else, or you're not doing the trends, as it were, that other producers are doing. You got to find your own niche.
Be your own producer.
Be your own producer. This is your art form. It's not anybody else's. You know, the beauty of AlphaOmega is the differences between me and Jay. But at the same time, the ability to learn from each other. To put our egos to the side, right? We put them on the back burner. We don't go into our situation thinking one is better than the other.
Right.
I just look at it like we share a common interest, right? Of just making some really good music. And the fact that we open our minds and we expand our horizons to see like how the other person does things and how we can pull inspiration from that. And as you can see, you know, we're 6 albums in and a whole bunch of singles,
Yes, sir.
you know, I think we're doing pretty all right for ourselves. So for you guys out there looking to find a way to find the inner producer in you, just the best thing is just be yourself. I know it sounds cliche, but
Be you.
be you, be comfortable in what you're doing, and love what you're doing.
Love what you're doing.
If you don't have enough passion, if you're not invoking that kind of feeling, if you're not getting what my partner says when it comes to getting them vibes, you know, then maybe music making is not your cup of tea. You know?
Right.
So it's got to be a vibe. It's got to be like you're having fun, and it encapsulates you. It's almost like you're going into another world, right? Another realm, right? So that's all I got to say on that.
But before we finish up,
Right.
what everybody else is probably thinking,
Right.
and I'm thinking it too.
Okay.
Are we gonna do something with that beat? I mean, we was over here vibing and jamming, you know. So
no, I mean, we might do something with it.
you know.
We're gonna leave that up to you guys' imagination. You know
So
what I mean?
to all the viewers that watch this, leave us some comments and give us some feedback. Should we use this beat?
Yeah. Should
That's
we
all.
pursue it, or
Should
do you
we?
feel like, just go ahead and scrap it? You know what I mean? Let us know.
Let us know.
You
Either
be
way,
honest. We're all about the feedback. We're all about the criticism. You're not going to get better as an artist, no matter what you do in life, if you're not open to criticism and open to feedback.
and you have to get out your comfort zone.
Gotta get out. I mean,
Trust me.
my partner just hit the nail in the coffin.
You got to get out your comfort
Gotta get out
zone.
your comfort zone. You know what I mean? So let us know what you think. And we appreciate you tuning in. I mean, you know who it is. It's
Alpha.
and you know who I am, Omega. And when you put that together, bam! It's Alpha Omega
And Omega.
presenting you the debut segment to Duel. So without further ado, I'm still in my vibes right now. I don't know if you are. I
I'm
think you are
vibing.
too.
Yeah, I'm still in the
I think
vibe.
we're going to go ahead and
So,
get back in the studio and put in some more work. We'll check you later.
all right. Peace out.